Hello. All right. Hello, YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about something. Um, I'm going to be talking about something that I'm sure not many people are aware of, and that the that I'm sure that not many people are aware of. It is it is Joel Schumacher's. It is Joel Schumacher's original cut of Batman Forever. Now, many people, I'm sure, think that the movie that we ended up getting was the movie that Joel Schumacher set out to make. You would be wrong. That was not the movie that Joel Schumacher set out to make. That was Warner Brothers in their massive egos and their um, that was Warner Brothers and their massive egos and their and them thinking that they know better than the people who are actually making the movie, as as most movie studios think otherwise. um yeah, no, that was not the movie that Joel Schumacher set out to make. And we just got um we just got an update on it at San Diego Comic-Con yesterday. And it turns out that um the writer of the Schumacher cut, um hold on one second, just because I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. um um okay, Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman, who was the writer for Batman Forever, uh, confirms that the cut is very real. It does exist. Um, and after Joel Schumacher's passing in, I think it was 2011. After Joel Schumacher's passing, he started talking with Warner Brothers about getting the movie released. Um, and um, and from what I understand, before Discovery bought Warner Brothers, it was on the verge of getting released, and then Discovery came in and bought Warner Brothers. Um, so it kind of ended up in limbo. And that's basically where it is now. It's stuck in limbo. Goldsman, however, is still very, very actively, talking with Warner Brothers Discovery about getting the movie released. Um, and I'm going to pull up. Um, I'm going to pull up something that dropped from Variety. I mean, not Variety, Collider, which is, of course, an official news source. Um, so it says here, Goldsman confirmed whether or not the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever was even real. Um, Yes, it does exist. He said. He said before giving more details about the mysterious movie. There is a preview called Preview One. Um, Most of the material that is available is put is put back together. There is not a lot. There's not a lot out there that folks haven't seen that you couldn't cobble together. Um, so he said. So what he's basically saying is, the movie for the most part is finished. There's just a couple of things, there's just a couple like last minute, like finishing touches that need to be um put on. But for the most part, the movie is, it's out there, it exists. Kevin Smith actually said that he's seen it, and he said the movie is incredible. um so the movie does exist. The movie is, like, how um how all the like, how, like all those toxic morons out there who said, oh, like the Snyder cut doesn't exist, and blah, 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 and and then we finally got confirmation that, that it actually did exist, and then it got released. Well, yeah, this is basically the same thing, only um obviously, the only difference is, the movie hasn't been released yet. So, um, and, um, yeah, and then it says here, after his friend Schumacher passed away oh, I'm sorry, he didn't pass away in 2020. He didn't pass away in 2011. He passed away in 2020. I don't know where I don't know where I got 2011 from. Sorry about that, folks. Um, After his friend Schumacher passed away in 2020, Goldsman wished to honor his friend. He explained, wished to honor his friend. He explained, I did talk to Warner Brothers. Um, this was one administration ago. My fantasy was to try and resurrect Batman Forever as sort of a celebration with Joel after he died. So, um, and then we have a little bit of details here, on specifically, like what his original cut of Batman Forever was. Um, it says Caped Crusader fans might be curious about what might be in this version of Batman Forever. It was darker. Goldman shared his insight on the film he'd seen. Bruce was haunted by his past. He felt guilt. It's all the stuff you read. None of that is mysterious. It was a more modern interpretation of the narrative, and what's not sorry, I can't talk today, and what's not dissimilar to those stories that we've caught that that we sort of caught up with now. um I've seen it. It was put back together. um yeah, so this is obviously nothing. um this was obviously, this is obviously, like nothing that we ended up getting. um the all the stuff in the movie that we ended up getting, like um like the lighter tone, the humor, um stuff like that, that was all Warner Brothers doing. That was all the studios doing. And that's, what people need to understand is that, what people need to understand about movies is that, is if a movie sucks, it doesn't always go it doesn't always go down the way that you think it did. Like, I'm not, I'm obviously, I mean, obviously, yes, there are cases, when a director has, when a director, makes a movie and, then the movie ends up sucking due to like bad writing or bad directing. I'm not saying that that hasn't happened, because it has. It obviously has. However, however um what I'm trying to say is that's not what happened here. That's not what happened here. Joel Schumacher had a much, much, much different version of his original draft, his original cut of Batman Forever is much, much different than what we ended up getting. And there have been plenty of other movies. Um, there have been plenty of other movies that have suffered from, studio interference, and in movie studios, movie studios, um, in movie studios are really run by morons. They're just run. They're just for the most part, they're just run by people who don't give a shit. They automatically think. They It's like they automatically hear the word franchise, and it's like, oh yeah. It's like they automatically think, like, if a first movie is successful, they can automatically turn it into a franchise, and then just right then, it'll be successful. They don't they don't take the time, they don't take the time to sit down and think about, like, what made that movie so successful and why people loved it so much. That's the kind of stuff that movie studios don't think about, and that's the kind of thing that they don't. And those are, those are the kind of things that they don't care about. They don't they don't take the time to realize and to think, maybe, just maybe, if we make a good movie, there's a pretty good chance there there's a pretty good chance that it'll make money. It's not guaranteed, that it'll make money. I like, Furiosa, the most recent, Mad Max prequel, like, yes, um, like, yes, like, yes, like, critically and commercially, it was a hit, but it bombed at the box office. So, you know, so there are all sorts of, there are all sorts of things, um, that have gone wrong with, with, with movies and stuff like that. Um, it's not, um, there's obviously, there's no guarantee that, that your movie is going to be successful. It's not, you're basically, you know unless you're someone, who really, 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 really knows what they're doing, like, like Jordan Peele, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, Robert Eggers, unless you're someone who's really, really passionate um about what they do, and really, 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 really knows what they're doing, there's no guarantee, that your movie is going to be successful. Um, but yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Back to the Schumacher cut. Um, so yeah, so the movie does exist. Um, um, the movie does exist. And it says here, um, Yeah, it says here with Warner Brothers and Discovery in talks for a potential breakup. The future of the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever is back in limbo, but not dead. Um, Goldsman not ready to give up on his friend's film once the new once the new DC world is moving forward. I will bat my eyes with everybody again and see if once more we can answer that. So so pretty much he is Goldsman is is confident that that the movie will eventually get released. It's basically just a question of when. um because as I talked about in um as I talked about in my in some of my previous videos, Warner Brothers Discovery is financially is in a lot of trouble right now. Like you know they're they're losing money. um they're losing money, and if things keep going, um if things keep going the way that they're going, it's very likely that they could be filing for bankruptcy within the next couple of within like the next couple to few years. It's very likely. I'm not, again, I'm not saying, I'm not saying, yes, that's definitely going to happen, but the rate that things are going and how much trouble they're in, I'm saying it's a very strong possibility. And but yeah, I for one, fully support the idea of getting the movie released. Um, I obviously, I was obviously a big supporter of, of the, of the Snyder Cut getting released. Um, Movies, um, it's like if a director sets out, to make, like if you have a group, like if you have a director who who sets out to make something that or you have a feeling is going to be something special, and it ends up being and it ends up being ruined by the studio. That's one of the things that really pisses me off, and that just really breaks my heart, because these are people who pour their heart and soul into, um who just who pour their heart and soul into making something really special, and then and then the fucking studio has to get involved and just and with their with their egos and their money and everything else, and just fucking like piss all over it. It just like nothing, as far as um as far as movies go, like nothing pisses me off more than than stuff like that, because it's truly just there's really there's truly just no reason for it. um but yeah, no, I'm very hopeful that this gets released. I truly want to see what Joel Schumacher, what Joel Schumacher's original idea was for this movie. um but yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you think? Do you want do you want to see this film released? Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.